Team Unity was re-elected with a landslide victory on election day over the St. Kitts and Nevis Labour Party, claiming 9 of the 11 seats in the National Assembly. It was an historic victory as well as the coalition of 3 parties claimed 2 seats that were considered strongholds of their opponents. St. Christopher 3, held historically by the Labour Party, switched sides for the first time since adult suffrage in the Federation. Nevis 11, which was held by the Nevis Reformation Party for decades, went to the Concerned Citizens Movement, the CCM. The final results for all the seats were not declared until 8 p.m. Saturday night, more than 24 hours after polls officially closed on Friday evening. The following seats were declared for Team Unity. In St. Christopher 2, Janelle Powell of the People's Action Movement was elected with 1,654 votes, opposed to the St. Kitts Nevis Labour Party's Marcella Liburd 1,422 votes. In St. Christopher number 3, Akila Baron Nisbet of the People's Labour Party picked up 1,342 votes over Conris Maynard of the Labour Party with 1,253 votes. In number 4, Lindsay Grant of the People's Action Movement got 1,284 votes over Steve Ransford of the Labour Party with 953. In constituency number 5, the leader of the People's Action Movement, Sean Richards, got 1,296 votes to Kenny Douglas of the St. Kitts Nevis Labour Party, 721. In St. Christopher number 7, Timothy Harris, leader of Team Unity and the People's Labour Party, got 1,870 votes to Leon Natta Nelson of the St. Kitts Nevis Labour Party, 607 votes. In St. Christopher number 8, the People's Action Movement's Eugene Hamilton got 2,234 votes to the St. Kitts Nevis Labour Party's Terence Drew, 2,208. On Nevis 9, the leader of the Concerned Citizens Movement, Premier Mark Brantley, got 1,689 votes to Dr. Kelvin Daly of the Nevis Reformation Party's 1,155. In Nevis 10, Eric Evelyn of the Concerned Citizens Movement got 710, while Bjorn Hanley picked up 167 for the Nevis Reformation Party. And in Nevis 11, Alexis Jeffers of the Concerned Citizens Movement got 1,107 votes to Patrice Nisbet of the Nevis Reformation Party, 910. The 2 seats for the St. Kitts Nevis Labour Party came in St. Christopher number 6. Dr. Denzel Douglas, leader of the St. Kitts Nevis Labour Party, picked up 1,563 votes over Kevin Williams of the People's Labour Party, 476. The other seat for the Labour Party came in St. Christopher number 1, where its candidate, Dr. Jeffrey Hanley, picked up 1,658 votes over the incumbent Ian Liburd of the People's Action Movement, 1,634 votes. Mr. Liburd, in a statement, said he will be contesting the results in court as he was not satisfied in the manner of which the votes were counted. We'll have more in a subsequent story. This victory means Team Unity will serve a second consecutive term in office. It also means that all 3 Nevis parliamentarians who are currently serving in the Nevis Island Assembly will serve in both the National Assembly and the federal government. At a public meeting on Saturday, the newly elected CCM parliamentarians thanked their supporters and celebrated their victory.
Ladies and gentlemen, we certainly have created history here on the island of Nevis. You know, 2020 has been a very challenging year for us with the pandemic and of course with our economic fallout. But this victory in 2020 is one that we will always remember, one that the Concerned Citizens Movement will always remember.
Many thought that it was not possible, you know, because when you listen to the pundits and all those who are doing their surveys and polling, they were saying that the other guy would win. But in the CCM, we knew differently. We knew that if we were to do our job, persevere, and bring out our voters to make sure that we make that mark for the CCM, we know and we knew we could have won the seat.
And I want to pay homage to the Honorable Spencer Brand and his team, because I said to Spencer, St. Paul's is in your hands. I will be up in St. John's doing the work. And he and his team spread out. They're spread out. And we have won St. Paul's comprehensively in this election. And if I win St. Paul's by 75, then Lord, when St. John's rolling, what's going to happen?
Team Unity supporters took to the streets on Sunday afternoon with a massive motorcade around the island. Prime Minister Dr. Timothy Harris was sworn in on Sunday morning. We'll have more on this in a subsequent report. Andre Huey, SKN Newsline. CARICOM Observer Mission for the June 5th general elections in St. Kitts and Nevis is calling for changes to allow for much quicker tallying and announcement of election results. Head of the mission, Gaspar Jean-Baptiste, during a post-election press conference on Saturday at OTI, suggested that the tallying of the votes in the various constituencies be done in the individual polling stations, supervised by the presiding officer.
However, we would like to make a significant recommendation in terms of moving forward and making some changes to the election legislation. And it has to do with the timing or the delay in relaying the results to the general public or declaring the winners. What we would be recommending is that the preliminary count be done at the polling station by the presiding officer at the close of poll, in an effort to speed up the process in delivering the results in a timely manner. As it stands right now, whereas it doesn't affect the will of the people in terms of expressing their views and the confidence in whichever party and in the way that they vote. But we believe it is too much time wasting, if I may say that, how the process is done, that you have to carry all the boxes to one central station. You have to wait for, if you have 18, like in the case of Christopher, constituency Christopher number 8, you had 18 polling stations. And so the police had to be waiting for each station to be completed before they collect the box to take it to one central point. And that causes a lot of delay.
Mr. Jean-Baptiste said 73% of the polling stations in St. Kitts and Nevis were visited by the small team of observers. Only 3 observers on the mission were on duty for these elections, summoned in short notice, Mr. Jean-Baptiste disclosed. One of the observers visited all of the 33 polling stations on Nevis, and the 2 remaining observers visited 71 polling stations on St. Kitts.
As far as our observation goes, we didn't see anything that came to our attention to believe that the process wasn't free, fair, and transparent. By the end of the process, we all express that the will of the people of St. Kitts and Nevis were expressed in the ballot box in a meaningful way, a very impartial way, with all the enthusiasm, and we respect the outcome of the results based on their wishes. As we said, the process was free, fair, and transparent.
The CARICOM Observer Mission arrived on Wednesday night, just about a full day before Election Day. They met with the NGO coalition, political representatives of the various political parties, and the independent candidate Jason Thomas for St. Christopher 4. Their summoning came only days after local NGOs comprising the St. Kitts Nevis Bar Association, the Chamber of Industry and Commerce, the Council of Churches, and Evangelical Association called on the government to invite international observers to observe these elections, as they did not have the capacity. The leader of the St. Kitts and Nevis Labour Party, Dr. Denzel Douglas, said he was informed in a letter by the Secretary General of the Organization of American States, the OAS, Luis Almagro, that an invitation to the OAS to observe the elections was rescinded days after it was issued in May. The government claimed that due to COVID-19 regulations and the closed borders, provisions could not be made to accommodate the OAS observers. Mr. Almagro contended that the protocols could be made to accommodate the observers similar to that of Suriname, that hosted legislative elections just 2 weeks prior to the St. Kitts and Nevis elections. Audrey Huey, SKN Newsline.
Constituency number 1 candidate for the People's Action Movement, Ian Patches Liburd, said he will challenge the outcome of the polls after he lost his seat in the 2020 general elections of St. Kitts and Nevis. Liburd, who served in the 3-party political coalition called Team Unity, lost his seat to newcomer Dr. Jeffrey Hanley of the St. Kitts Nevis Labour Party. After what was one of the longest vote counts of the 2020 general elections, Liburd issued a statement dated 6 June in which he noted his intent to challenge the results. He wrote, quote, "I do hereby state for the record that I am totally dissatisfied with the results of St. Christopher number 1. A number of irregularities during the counting of the ballots have been brought to my attention, and for that reason I intend to challenge the results for St. Christopher 1 in a court of law. Liebert continued, accordingly, I have already instructed my solicitors to proceed with the necessary High Court action in order to challenge the results of this undue return. End quote. During his term as Minister of Infrastructure, Liebert implemented several major capital projects, including the construction of a new cruise pier, a new ferry terminal in Basseterre, the resurfacing of the Island Main Road, and the realignment of the Old Road Bay Main Road. Glenn Bart, SKN Newsline.
SKN Newsline, in a historic collaboration, teamed up with Freedom 106.5 FM to provide 12 hours of election night coverage into Saturday morning. The panel comprised hosts Junie Liebert and Tony Frederick, along with Dr. Patrick Martin, Attorney Chesley Hamilton, and SKN Newsline staff reporter Glenn Bart. Political poster and analyst Peter Wickham joined live via video link in Barbados. SKN Newsline's news director Andre Huey was the producer. The team provided incisive and insightful commentary as the election results trickled in.
The polling stations that we visited, they were the lines were marked out in terms of the 6 feet apart, and unfortunately, it seems that did not really make much of a difference. Persons were basically clumped together. They were talking in groups. Some persons had masks, some had masks around their necks, and some didn't have any masks at all.
And definitely, when this is all over, regardless of who wins, the electoral officials need to sit down with both parties and say, look, let's see how we're going to deal with this situation and streamline it better. Because we can't have a situation where such a small population, we're looking at 9 o'clock in the night and, polls are now closing and things of that nature. I don't know that sits very well.
The local vote, you're saying since 1984 we haven't had one of those sort of elections.
Subject to correction.
And in that elections, the incumbent won. So could the incumbent here, which is the Team Unity government, be able to spend enough money without the overseas vote to have its machinery deliver on the ground?
NRP candidate is expected to come out of St. Thomas's with a lead of 300 plus, and this did not happen tonight.
You were talking about Mr. Rensford being perhaps not as I think you used the word weak. He was weaker than perhaps, but but he is a little bit older, and Glenn goes Philip. I think you said he wasn't as athletic, but what I heard him say was Glenn was young and fit, and Mr. Rensford was a little bit older. And probably not as, and generally with age comes more calm and you're more demure and so on. So and especially with the Labour Party pushing the next generation, and they have all of these new, young, exciting, dynamic candidates and so on, was that something that worked against Rensford?
At the time the broadcast ended at 8 a.m. on Saturday, results in 2 constituencies were pending, St. Christopher 1 and 8. The broadcast also aired on SKN Newsline's sister radio station, Voice of the Caribbean Radio, at voiceofthecaribbean.net and at Freedom 106.5 FM. Live video coverage was shown on SKN Newsline's Facebook page, the Facebook page of Freedom FM, the SKN Newsline website at www.sknewsline.com, and SKN Newsline's YouTube channel. SKN Newsline would like to thank Freedom FM and the panel for this collaborative effort, and to our viewers and listeners for tuning in to our coverage, making it one of the most viewed on election night. Andre Huey, SKN Newsline.
It's not just iced tea and it's not cold tea. But who said we couldn't be in the middle? We are Mother Becky Quenchers, a herbal iced tea. It's a different and innovative take on using traditional herbs for tea. It's a home-brewed blend of natural, organic herbs and spices, ready to drink at any time. We've turned ingredients you've used many times into something crisp, thirst-quenching, and did we mention taste awesome? Drinking tea just got better. Mother Becky Tea.
In these stressful times, you need relief, a way to release your stress and care for your health. You need Serenity. Yes, Serenity Mobile Spa, where we come to your home and offer the very best in massage and spa treatment. Your health is our priority as we practice the highest hygiene procedures before, during, and after your treatment. Choose from massages to meet your physical needs, scrubs, facials, waxing, and much more. We also provide our customers a complimentary serving of refreshing local coconut water with each massage. During these restricted times, we urge our customers to stay healthy. We will come to you.
Call us at 762-0157 or 760-8899. Find us on Facebook, Serenity Mobile Spa St. or email us at serenitymobile-spa869@gmail.com.
Serenity Mobile Spa.
Auto Plus Car Wash, located on the College Street Gut, Bastyr, St. Kitts. Bring your car to Auto Plus Car Wash to remove water stains, wiper marks. Get your doors, roof panel cleaned, seat floor mats, buffing, headlights, and engine wash. You get quality service at the best price at Auto Plus Car Wash. They really care for your car. Call 765-5140 or visit them on the College Street Gut, Bastyr, St. Kitts. Auto Plus Car Wash, where the service is number one. Nevis Reformation Party Vice Chairman Dr. Kelvin Daly believes the opposition, St. Kitts Nevis Labour Party, could have done more to have the electoral boundaries matter addressed before the June 5th general elections. In his view, the use of the new boundaries from 2015, which were suspended by a court order from the Privy Council, would have favoured the Labour Party and the Nevis Reformation Party.
I think that was a fatal error on the part of the Labour government, Labour in St. Kitts, because you must recall, Mr. Huey, the whole reason for the injunction back in 2015 was because they felt that that boundary, 2015 boundary, was not in their favor. Why then, as an opposition, you wouldn't want to pursue that in court as a matter of urgency? So I believe the Denzel Douglas Next Gen party, I believe, in my personal view, they should have pursued that in court to have it ruled on and get it defined. But I guess, everybody have the consultants, and if the consultants were telling me one thing, they went with that. My gut instinct was telling me all along that the 2015 boundaries would have favored Labour, it favored NRP in a much better light. And it is constitutionally mandated.
He believes electoral reform is needed and realigning of the boundaries should be key in such reforms.
St. John's, St. Paul's combined for Nevis 9 is the second largest district in the whole federation. Almost 6,000 voters. Now, how do you maneuver around 6,000 right next door is 1,000 in Nevis 10 and over in Nevis 11, 2,000? So the premier now, back in 2010, he was advocating against this unwieldy boundary, he called it, and he wanted change. But once he got into government, and now at the last moment, he opposed any changes in 2015 to the 2015 boundary because he recognized even more difficult time to win.
The NRP was the only party not to have won a seat in the recently held elections. On nomination day, just over a week before election day, the NRP filed an application to have the injunction on the new boundaries removed so that the elections would be held on those boundaries. The court on the eve of elections said there was not enough time to have the matter fully ventilated before election day. Andre Huey, SKN Newsline. A new-look Team Unity government was sworn in at an inaugural ceremony Sunday at the Warner Park Cricket Stadium. All 9 elected members and Senators Wendy Phipps and Attorney General Vincent Byron Jr. were sworn in and assigned their various ministerial posts. Some kept the ministries they had in the previous administration, while the new ministers got some major portfolios. Most notably was Akila Baron Nisbet, who got one of the loudest cheers from the attendees at the ceremony. She received Ministry of Health, ICT, Entertainment, Entrepreneurship, and Talent Development. Newcomer Janelle Powell is the new Minister of Education, Youth, Sports and Culture. The Nevis ministers were not outdone. Alexis Jeffers is the new Minister of Agriculture, Fisheries and Marine Resources. Eric Evelyn was given the Ministry of Environment and Cooperatives, while Mark Brantley kept the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Civil Aviation. A notable announcement was Deputy Prime Minister Sean Richards was given the Ministries of Public Infrastructure, Utilities, Post and Urban Development, ministries that were previously held by outgoing Minister Ian Liburd, who lost his seat in St. Christopher No. 1 in the June 5th elections. Mr. Liburd has since challenged the results, and the matter is before the court. Prime Minister Dr. Timothy Harris essentially kept the previous ministries he held, with a notable addition of the information portfolio, along with finance, national security, sustainable development, constituency empowerment, and human resource management. Eugene Hamilton kept most of his previous ministries except health and agriculture. He is the Minister of Human Settlement, National Health Insurance, Social Security, Ecclesiastical Affairs, Social Development, and Gender Affairs. Wendy Phipps, who, as Senator in the previous administration, served as Junior Minister of Health, is now the Minister responsible for International Trade, Industry, Commerce, Consumer Affairs, and Labour. Minister Lindsay Grant retained the Tourism Ministry and is also now the Minister responsible for Transport and Ports. Vincent Barron Jr. returns as Attorney General and Minister of Justice and Legal Affairs. In delivering remarks, Prime Minister Harris publicly thanked the electorate for again placing its trust in the Team Unity Coalition when it was called upon to choose the country's next government.
For us to reach our potential, everyone deserves to see his or her life improve. Team Unity has an exciting program of policies that will take St. Kitts and Nevis to a stronger and safer future. We have earmarked 2,000 plots of land for bigger and better houses, including affordable income homes. More land will be bought back from the Land Sales Agency to be made available to our farmers, our mechanics, our young people, and those with interest in commercial and industrial enterprises. We are working towards an ambitious program of job creation, and we will regularize our step workers and make our government auxiliary workers for the first time pensionable in St. Kitts and Nevis. We will construct a brand new general hospital, and this perhaps will be in tribute to the remarkable service we have had in the battle against COVID-19 and the exemplar service of CMO, Dr. Hazel Laws, and Dr. Cameron Wilkerson. Our country owes them both, and the full team and all others, a debt of gratitude for exemplary performance.
The ceremony was attended by several dignitaries, including the nation's only living national hero, Dr. the Right Excellent and Right Honorable Sir Kennedy A. Simmons, and His Excellency the Governor-General Sir S.W. Tapley-Seton. Also in attendance were a number of senior government officials, representatives of the Diplomatic and Consular Corps, and leaders in the business community. Andre Huey, SKN Newsline. With the second successive defeat at the polls after serving as Prime Minister for 20 years, it's time for Dr. Denzil Douglas to step down as leader of the St. Kitts and Nevis Labour Party. That's the view of political analyst Peter Wickham during an interview on Let's Talk St. Kitts and Nevis, aired on Voice of the Caribbean Radio this week.
Dr. Douglas has done well politically. I think developmentally he's also done well. St. Kitts and Nevis had a housing revolution. They had an education revolution. They had a health revolution. All of these things were achieved under him. So he did well. The challenge came, however, where it was clear that the Labour Party was losing support. And I mean, you could see it in elections. They were losing support. And over those years, they seemed to turn more to the overseas vote to make up any shortfall that came in terms of the losing support locally. The people of St. Kitts clearly felt that after 20 years, they needed an alternative leader. And that's essentially what they have done. What we have now is a situation where instead of Dr. Douglas accepting that his ship has sailed and that he can perhaps do better to rely on the years that he had done so well to build his legacy, he is polluting his legacy now with the type of noise that we associate with so many other leaders in the Caribbean. The challenge is that we've heard it all before. When after in Barbados, it was the same thing.
Mr. Wickham is not convinced that Dr. Douglas will retire based on his recent pronouncement that he would not concede the election results due to irregularities on election day. He compared Dr. Douglas to Dr. Kenny Anthony, former leader of the St. Lucia Labour Party, who resigned after his party lost the elections in St. Lucia to the United Workers' Party.
Night of the election, when Kenny Anthony conceded defeat, he congratulated Alan Chastanet on a victory that was hard fought. He congratulated him on a campaign that was clearly better. He wished the people of St. Lucia well, and he said, "This will be my last occasion in which I will be leading the party. I will look for an opportunity to lead leadership." If you look to the United Kingdom, when Corbyn lost the last election race, Corbyn said, "This is it for me. I congratulate the people. I wish the new Prime Minister Boris Johnson well, and I will not be running for office again." In Barbados, Frendo Stewart, on the night of the last election, he lost. He congratulated the opposition, the alternative for winning. He congratulated Mia Mottley. He said that the loss was clearly resounding and that he will not be running for office again. He has no intention of continuing in that role. Dr. Douglas has had 48 hours to reflect on life and has come to the people with the position that this election was invalidly decided. It is not a reflection of the will of the people. So I can only assume that from that, his intention is to continue.
Meanwhile, Mr. Wickham believes a clear choice of leadership of the Labour Party should be Dr. Terence Drew, despite him falling by 24 votes in his latest attempt to win St. Christopher No. 8.
Frankly, I do not think he should take up his seat in Parliament. I believe that he should essentially use this as an opportunity to say to Labour, look, you have an alternative. Let's give one of our brightest lights of this next generation that we're talking about building the opportunity to go into Parliament in my place. And let me begin to celebrate the fact that, I do have a legacy that is worthy of some note. But what he's done instead is said that, he has all of these allegations.
Despite having the popular vote as a single party in the June 5th, 2020 elections, the Labour Party lost the elections by a landslide of 9-2 to the coalition Team Unity, giving the Timothy Harris-led government a second consecutive term in office. Audrey Huey, SKN Newsline. The newly appointed Minister of Health, Akila Byron Nisbet, has recommitted the support of the Ministry of Health to fight against COVID-19. In her first public appearance on Wednesday since being sworn in as Minister of Health, the minister stressed that there must be a tangent between the reopening of the borders and protecting citizens and residents from the coronavirus. She was speaking at the resumption of the NEOC briefings at the NEMA building on Wednesday.
It's inevitable. We will have to reopen our borders at some point, and the expectation is that we would expect a second wave at that point. But I am confident that the team will continue to do as they have done in the first wave to ensure that we are able to curtail whatever the impact may be as it relates to COVID-19. The ministry continues to be cognizant of the fact that we are living in a global world where we expect that persons will need to be able to conduct business, and so we have to come up with solutions in order to be able to ensure that we have the safety of our country as well as the economy both in tangent with each other and ensuring we get the results that we desire.
She said she has been updated by the HEOC task force on the measures taken so far in the fight against COVID-19 and expressed confidence that the team will do its best in protecting the nation from the disease.
I am thankful to the NEOC. I am thankful to, I know he's not here right now, but the NDC and NEMA, who continue to work very hard in ensuring that we're able to meet all of our targets and goals, and the work that they have been putting in is commendable, as well as the rest of the task force, these men and women who continue to give yeoman service to ensure that our country is able to fight this disease, and we're able to ensure that the people as a whole are healthy and we stay safe. I also have to commend the people of St. Kitts and Nevis who continue to follow all guidelines that are outlined and continue to follow all the policies and regulations. It is because you continue to do what you're supposed to do why we're able to say that we are now COVID-free after 59 days. And I'm hopeful that once we begin to reopen the borders, persons will continue to listen to the advice of the health authority and the NEOC, and that we'll be able to curtail whatever the impact may be in the future.
Chief Medical Officer Dr. Hazel Law said it has been 59 days since the last announcement of a positive case of COVID-19 in St. Kitts and Nevis. There were 15 positive cases, which have since recovered. Andre Huey, SKN Newsline. For all your printing needs at top-notch quality, go to Digital Print Plus, located on Princess Street, Bastyr, St. Kitts. At Digital Print Plus, you get the best in business cards, letterheads, envelopes, wristbands, tent cards, rack cards, flyers, brochures, logo designs, posters, photos, architectural designs, 3D renderings, and so much more. Digital Print Plus gives you the best quality at competitive prices. Contact us at 767-7468 or email digitalprintskn@gmail.com or follow us on Facebook at Digital Print SKN. Digital Print Plus for all your printing needs at the best quality. Now you can have SKN Newsline on the go. Introducing SKN Newsline Android mobile app. Search SKN Newsline in the Google Play Store. Download the app free and stay up to date with TV news in St. Kitts and Nevis in the palm of your hands. With this app, you can watch your news reports, watch our live news feed on SKN Newsline TV, engage with us and other app users in the chat room, look at our special features, send us news tips, and call us directly. It's news on the go. The SKN Newsline Android mobile app. Download it free today.
Banners, commercial signs, decal printing, canvas prints, license plates, posters. We at Multigraphics are dedicated to providing quality products and service to our customers. Our team takes pride in the craftsmanship and is passionate about its work. Every job, large or small, is important. Most of our customers come to us through referrals. That's because our number one priority is service. We serve a wide variety of customers, such as restaurants, retail stores, manufacturers, trucking companies, and many more. Our capabilities include design, production, and installation. How can we help? We are located at Bird Rock at the Woods Right compound. Call us at 869-763-1511 or 784-491-7599. Multigraphics.
KVK Enterprises at Boyd's Housing Development, Trinity Parish, St. Kitts. For all your t-shirt printing, banners and signs, promotional products, shipping, motivational speeches, computer classes, agro-processing, art and craft, and desktop publishing. Come to KVK Enterprises at Boyd's Housing Development, Trinity, St. Kitts. Telephone 661-0118 or 765-7270. Email drkhrystus@kvklives.com or visit www.kvklives.com. KVK Enterprises. St. Kitts and Nevis Head of Immigration, Merceline Hughes, has provided more information on the 13 Haitian nationals held this week for entering the island illegally. She was addressing the NEOC weekly briefing on Wednesday.
The information that we got the information on Monday. The police would have executed a search warrant in the Keys community and found 10 Haitians in a house and in the mountainside of Keys. They were handed over to the immigration department as they entered the country illegally. So they are illegal migrants. They're all males. We found, well, as I said before, we had 10 in the early part of Monday, and by evening we had 12, and yesterday morning we found another one. So we now have 13 adult male Haitians in immigration/police custody.
Mrs. Hughes noted that considering that the country has porous borders, the support of the public on both islands is needed as it relates to the illegal entry of persons along the coastline.
the police and immigration continues our investigations. We would like to inform or to appeal to the general public that if you see something, say something. We've been hearing rumors over the last few months that persons are coming in by sea. Our borders are porous. We hear that all the time, that our borders are open, they are porous, and so getting in sometimes could be a little easier than for some countries that do not have the nice lush beaches that we do. And so it's easy for illegal smuggling and trafficking to take place. And so we're asking persons, if you see something, instead of just taking pictures and posting it on Facebook, you have the police emergency 911. You can call and you can relay that information so that all the security forces and social partners can get involved. I would like to say that the Ministry of Foreign Affairs was informed of this activity, and so they will be in communication with the Foreign Affairs of Haiti to discuss what the next step would be.
10 of the 13 illegal immigrants were held in Keys Village on Monday. Andre Huey, SKN Newsline.
Nevis's Premier Mark Brantley said the reopening of the country's borders and hotels are under discussion with the aim of reaching a balance between the health safety and the economic necessity of the country. Speaking at his 25th July press conference held at the Premier's office in Charlestown, Premier Brantley said a meeting with hoteliers will determine their state of readiness for reopening as well as other pertinent issues. He disclosed that several regional and international institutions are providing assistance in regards to protocols required for the hotel sector.
If we can do that, reopen the hotels initially locally, it gives us, when I say locally, within the domestic space, it gives us an opportunity for staycations. Many of you, after a tough political season, might want to take a weekend or two at one of our local resorts and enjoy the amenities there. It allows us to do that, and of course allows the hotels to test their readiness. The borders and the opening of the borders is the next big step. And we are looking very carefully. That conversation has started, but we're looking very carefully on what other countries have been doing. Jamaica has been open now for just about a week. We are seeking to learn from them. Antigua and Barbuda has opened, and just yesterday we had the sad news that they have 39 new COVID cases that have been imported. So it tells you that reopening the borders is not without risks. The question is whether or not we can find a balance between the risks associated with reopening and naturally the risk of remaining closed and seeing a collapse of the local economy. So that is the situation. Our own view from the Nevis Island administration and as the Premier of Nevis is that we must find that balance, but where possible we err on the side of the health and safety of our people. And so that is the Gordian knot, if you will, that we have to seek to untie in terms of how we maintain safety and security of our people, but at the same time respond to those who naturally need to get back to work, and respond to the hoteliers in particular who would have invested millions of dollars and who want their plants to reopen so that they can benefit. So this is what we are looking at. In terms of COVID-19 protocols and training, we have had various protocols proposed by the WTO, the OECS, CARPHA, CARICOM, the CDC, and we are aware that the Four Seasons Resort has been working with Johns Hopkins University. And we are looking at all of those protocols and hope to have widespread training. Shortly, we are hoping that we could have it at the federal level, meaning that the same standards apply across the country, and that we hope to have a travel-approved seal for those establishments that are compliant so as to give greater comfort to those who are visiting.
Brantley stated that testing for COVID-19 will be an important factor as the tourism sector reopens, and plans are in gear to provide testing capability at the hospitals on both islands. Glenn Barth, SKN Newsline.
The St. Kitts and Nevis Labour Party filed 6 election petitions in the High Court on Friday. 3 weeks to the day since the June 5th general elections. Outside the court after the filing of the petitions, Chairman of the St. Kitts and Nevis Labour Party, Dr. Terence Drew, greeted the throng of Labour supporters and addressed them briefly. He said the petitions were filed for irregularities in 6 constituencies on St. Kitts.
We will not accept it. Democracy must be alive and well in St. Kitts and Nevis, and our forefathers who died for it, they have told us that we need to protect it at all costs, and we will protect it right here in the laws, in the court of law. Number 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, and 8 would have filed with the High Court election petitions to be heard. So 6 constituencies are filed.
Meanwhile, leader of the Labour Party, Dr. Denzil Douglas, said the party wants fresh elections.
Our agents' report indicate to us that there was massive cheating during the conduct of the election. A lot of cheating took place. The officials for the government, as you would know, were family members of most of the candidates. That is against the law. They did not represent, in our opinion, the opposing candidates from the Labour Party in the same way that they presented the government candidates in terms of demonstrating how to vote. We have found from the evidence that there was massive corruption, there was inducement, there was bribery, bribery in a massive way, with assets of the government, assets belonging to you, the people, being used to bribe the electorate, the voters, as to vote for them. These are serious matters that we believe could have affected the outcome of the elections. And thus, we are asking the court to look at the evidence, look at the petitions of our candidates, and determine whether or not those who were returned were fairly and justifiably returned. And if not, quash the returns of the returning officer. And if we do not have our candidates appointed instead, then we would have a new election.
The Labour Party won only 2 seats in the 8 they contested on St. Kitts. St. Christopher 6 held by Dr. Douglas and newcomer Dr. Jeffrey Hanley in St. Christopher 1. Team Unity took the remaining 9 seats for the National Assembly. Andre Huey, SKN Newsline.
The full extent of the Charlestown Accord has not yet been achieved, said Nevis's Premier Mark Brantley during his 25th June press conference in Charlestown. Asked to provide an update on the status of the accord, Premier Brantley reminded the news media that the Charlestown Accord formed the basis of the operation for the 3-party political coalition between the People's Action Movement, the People's Labour Party, and the Concerned Citizens Movement. The accord was signed by the 3 parties ahead of the general elections that were held in 2015. Part of that accord deals with the relationship between the 2 islands of St. Kitts and Nevis. It has been a relationship that has been described as difficult at times, with Nevis not being able to participate fully in the country's resources and opportunities. However, Premier Brantley said there has been significant improvement in the relationship, but there is still more to be achieved.
I, however, have been on record saying, and I continue to say, that the full rigor of the Charlestown Accord has not yet been implemented. And that is something that I have already telescoped to the Prime Minister has to be done, and done early in this term, that we have to give full rigor to the terms of the Charlestown Accord, particularly as they relate to the sharing of resources from the Citizenship by Investment Program. Those resources continue to be lopsided in terms of the share that goes to our brothers and sisters in St. Kitts compared to what comes to the island of Nevis. And so while Nevis is getting more than it has ever received in the history of the country, we know that we are not getting what was agreed in terms of the percentage shares. And that has now to be a matter of urgent discussion and resolution between the NIA and the federal government. And I believe the Prime Minister has already signaled his willingness to sit and to resolve those issues. And so the Charleston Accord continues to be the basis of our engagement, and we will continue to engage on that basis with our counterparts on St. Kitts. The Charleston Accord was intended, as I said, to be the foundation, the basis on which we would engage among the three parties and between both islands.
Following the 5th June 2020 general elections, some uncertainty about the status of the accord arose among some quarters of the population. Glenn Barth, SKN Newsline.
Prime Minister of Antigua and Barbuda, Gaston Brown, has announced plans to liquidate the regional carrier Liat. Brown on Saturday also said a new entity will be formed and a meeting of all shareholders will be held shortly to discuss the matter. He was speaking on Point FM in Antigua.
And the fact that the planes have been grounded, they have to pay the lease payments, and they're not getting any revenue, plus there's some other fixed costs that they have to pay, even if they don't operate. They have to maintain staff as well, to maintain the planes and so on, and keep some level of administration going. The losses would have increased exponentially, which means that Liat, which was always in a very precarious position, is literally now inviable.
He added that the region cannot move forward without a form of connectivity and a new entity may have to be created.
Connectivity, we can't have an integration movement and we can't connect people. I mean, connecting people is critical to the integration movement. But this new entity will require full cooperation of all, full commitment. Clearly, we're going to have to put cash in. The governments will have to capitalize the new entity. They'll also have to get private sector participation so that we have a mixture of public and private capital, probably to have it operated by private entities. But again, what I'm hoping that we do not have going forward with a new entity is any squabble over the location of the headquarters.
According to the Prime Minister, Liat does not have sufficient assets to satisfy the requirements or claims of most of its creditors, including the airline's employees.
That there will have to be some level of cooperation to include possibly some haircuts on their liabilities in order to facilitate the creation of a new viable and sustainable entity. And let me make the point here too, that Liat does not have sufficient assets in which it could satisfy the requirements, or let's say the claims of most of its creditors, to include the staff at Liat. So Liat only owns 3 planes, and those 3 planes are charged to the Caribbean Development Bank. So clearly they have a superior claim, and after they would have covered their claim, there will be hardly any assets available to liquidate severance and other liabilities to staff and other creditors. So there has to be a negotiated position. I mean, the government's not going to be bandits and just walk away from the staff. There will have to be some form of compassionate payment to assist them.
Leeward Island Air Transport was established in 1956 in Montserrat. In 1971, Courtline Aviation of the UK acquired control and renamed the airline Liat, and in 1974, ownership of the airline was acquired by 11 Caribbean governments. It was renamed Liat 1974 Limited. Andre Huey, SKN Newsline.